The air in the studio, usually buzzing with applause and light chatter, suddenly turned thick with a low, collective rumble. It was the unmistakable sound of a live audience turning on a speaker, a wave of disapproval that washed over the set of The View. The moment occurred just as co-host Alyssa Farah Griffin was making a point, her words slicing through the typical morning show banter. The groan was not a brief interruption. It was sustained. It was audible. It was a judgment from the very people the show aims to entertain and inform. It was raw. It was unfiltered. A referendum on a single sentence, delivered in real time for millions to witness. The reaction was immediate, visceral, a stark reminder of the perils of live television. What she said became secondary to the reaction it provoked. The audience, a character in its own right on daytime talk shows, had spoken, a chorus of dissent. In an instant, the segment shifted from political discussion to a spectacle of public rebuke. Other hosts visibly reacted. Expressions shifted as the room changed temperature. Pure television friction punctured the broadcast flow. The groan became the headline, the focal point. To understand why the crowd reacted so strongly, one must first understand who Alyssa Farah Griffin is and the space she occupies on The View. She is not just another political commentator. She is a former Trump administration official, having served as White House Director of Strategic Communications. This history places her in a perpetually precarious position on a show whose core audience and veteran hosts are often sharply critical of her former boss. She walks a political tightrope every single day, attempting to represent a conservative viewpoint while distancing herself from controversial aspects of that administration. Her presence is, by design, a source of potential friction. Her commentary is scrutinized through a very specific lens. When she speaks, many hear the voice of a former insider they opposed. This context is inescapable. Every word is weighed against past actions and affiliations, creating high stakes where a minor misstep can read as a major transgression. She must build trust with an audience inherently skeptical of her credentials and motives. Her margin for error is slim. The panel's dynamic is built on this tension. Producers cast conflicting ideologies to spark compelling television. Her role is the counterpoint to prevailing progressive opinions, often arguing against the grain, panel and audience alike. The studio crowd tends to align with the show's liberal voices. They are primed and alert for anything that feels like a defense of unpopular policies. So moments like the groan are not surprising. They are a feature, not a bug, of the show's format. This audience is famously vocal, applauding what they agree with and showing disapproval for what they don't. With years of conditioning, their responses are almost Pavlovian. She navigates a minefield where any step can trigger an explosion of sentiment. 3 cold, hard facts explain this moment. First, live television is unforgiving, operating at the speed of speech. There is no backspace, no editor to soften a sharp phrase or reframe a poorly timed remark. Once words are spoken, they are instantly received and judged. A single line can ignite a firestorm, even if not meant to provoke. Delivery slightly off, phrasing clumsy. Precision is demanded. Stumbles are inevitable. Second, The View has a loyal, opinionated audience, active participants who feel ownership over the discourse. They expect lively debate and a baseline of respect and common sense. When an unspoken contract is violated, the audience acts as a corrective force. Their groan is real-time quality control. Third, panel shows trade on emotion because emotion drives engagement. Calm is fine, but drama does the heavy lifting. Gasp, heated argument, collective groan. Those moments generate clips, headlines, and social chatter. The groan becomes valuable content, fueling articles, compilations, and debates across platforms. That sound keeps the show in the national conversation for days. These 3 factors, the unforgiving nature of live TV, the audience's protective instincts, and the media's hunger for emotional moments, create a perfect storm. It wasn't just what Alyssa said. The environment made the groan nearly certain. The system produces conflict. The format leaves no room for error. The ecosystem amplifies the fallout. The ultimate takeaway is simple but powerful. On a live panel show where emotions run high and attention spans are short, the feeling in the room outweighs the facts on the table. You can bring evidence, a structured argument, unimpeachable logic. But if the tone reads arrogant, condescending, or out of sync with the room, the message is DOA. The groan proved it. The audience wasn't debating her facts, they were rejecting her vibe. This is the challenge for anyone, especially political commentators, on platforms like The View. You're not in a debate hall or a courtroom, you're in an arena built for entertainment, where connection is paramount. To change minds or even be heard, you must first build rapport, balance confidence with humility, conviction with relatability. Read the room. Before a controversial point, lay groundwork with inclusive, respectful language. Speak clearly and calmly. Avoid jargon that feels elitist or detached. Don't aim to merely win technically. Invite a conversation. A combative or smug tone builds a wall. A measured, empathetic tone builds a bridge. In the end, the groan was quick feedback, a public course correction. On television, words are half the battle. The other half is the music you play them to. Balance truth with tact.